Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to take this picture from Teeny Halloweeny and I'm going to be first painting with the wonderful new Spirafarben watercolor set. And then I'm going to go over the top of it with Castle Art. I think they're Castle Art. Did I pick? Yeah, Castle Art colored pencils. They are all completely sharpened. They're beautiful. And what I'm going to do first here is take this actually kind of thick brush and this really nice palette that's included in that watercolor set that I will, of course, link below because it's the best watercolor set. And what I'm going to do first is do all of the background. I'm going to, first of all, test to see how the paper is, which I've done it before and it's actually pretty decent. And especially for watercolor. And then I'm going to see what it's like to use colored pencils over the top of the Spirafarben or any watercolor paints. I love that technique actually, so I just wanted to let you take a look at it. I also wanted to say congratulations to Joetta Emerson, who was the winner of the this I Am an Artist t-shirt. So I will get that out in the mail to you ASAP. Congrats, Joetta. So all I'm doing right now is taking sort of neutral colors and coloring all the background, like I said. And the reason I'm doing this is because the picture is supposed to be in the woods at night. And I want there to be, I want the white to have shadow to it. It's much harder to cover a large area with colored pencil. So what I'm going to do is paint every white space here with, well, I did do her hood red, but that's okay because as you'll see later, I'm going to be using a lot of different colors on her typically red hood. The colors are very diluted and the page got pretty wet. So at one point I just blow dried it, just to speed things up for you. So while I'm doing the rest of this base layer, I thought I would tell you some spooky stories and give you some spooky information since it's Mischief Night. I don't know what you call it where you live, but in New Jersey where I live, we called it Mischief Night because there was plenty of mischief afoot everywhere. And it still happens now. So I'm hoping, I have my fingers crossed that nothing happens this evening. But, so what I'm going to talk about first is curses. And I don't know if any of you believe in curses. Oh, those are the Castle Art pencils. Look at them beautifully sharpened. So I'm sure you know what a curse is. But let me know below if you believe in them or not. By definition, it's a prayer or an invocation, but to harm or injure another person. And they basically cause negative energy through thought or intention or even a spell to happen to a person or a group of people. And those intentions are filled with hate. Now, I don't want to dwell on this, but it's pretty interesting that one of the theories behind curses is that demons get released. And when the curse is uttered, they're sent to the person who is being cursed. But there's a caveat. If the person is protected by Jesus or white light or another method, prayer, the curse could boomerang and get sent back to the person who sent the curse, or even an innocent bystander. Some people think that it's easy to curse another person, and that just by calling them a name or having a bad thought or gossiping or just ill will can cause a person to suffer from a curse or something called, I'm doing quotes in the air with my hands, oppression. Whoop, I have started coloring. This is fast, obviously, because otherwise this would take at least an hour and you would probably be bored. So with the red hood and her little outfit, as you can see, I'm using green here. I used blue because, I realized that when I was doing videos, I would do them very specific to what I thought that you would want to see, but that's not exactly how I would do art. So I kind of just implemented what I would typically do into this image. So I used in her red hood pink and maroon and blue, alien green, all different colors. And I like to do that in my images. I even do that on skin tone because it makes it more realistic. So you'll see as I color here that I've probably used every color in the rainbow just for her red hood. So back to curses. So supposedly witches send curses along with gypsies, medicine men, or anybody that wants to send something creepy or evil to an enemy. In Australia, there's something called bone pointing, and supposedly this curse never fails. So what they do is take a bone, and it's usually a human bone, creepy enough, and it's about 9 inches long, and it's supposed to look like a threaded needle. I don't know why. And the eye of this creepy needle is threaded with the hair of the victim. When the victim is found, whether in the neighborhood or if they have to search for this person, they point the needle or this giant bone thing at the victim, and they say a short curse, and supposedly the victim is doomed. There's also other curses that I really don't want to even say out loud. I looked them up. You can actually look curses up on the web that are actually meant to harm people. I will not say them. I just thought it was interesting to pass that information along. And please note, I am not recommending any of this. I just thought it would be fun to say it on Halloween. Oh, I also wonder if any of you wear any anti-curse type things. I know that some people wear that eye. It's supposed to keep the evil eye away. I know a lot of people wear crosses, although that's not necessarily a curse prevention, but a religious symbol. I'm just wondering if you wear anything that's supposedly good luck against curses. I hope this isn't too scary. Back to Little Red for a second. As you can see, I'm doing her hair now, and I'm also using blues and purples, and I actually want her hair to be brown, but it's another situation like her hood. If you put secondary colors or tertiary colors underneath the color that you want the hair to be, there's more dimension to it, because nothing is ever just one shade. If you look at someone's eyes or their hair or a leaf, there's so many colors and nuances. So I like to add them even in a simple little cartoony image like this. I love it. And maybe you could try it. It's just something different, and there's no limits there. You can use any colors you want. Oh, and there's Witchy Poo's hand. This is probably the spookiest image in Teeny Halloweeny, and I don't think it's actually that scary, but I figured it was fun for this conversation. So, back to curses. I don't know if any of you know this, but the Vatican has an exorcist, and up until very recently, the Vatican exorcist was Gabriele Amorth, who was a Roman Catholic priest. They have another exorcist now, but he was very vocal about exorcism and curses, and he wrote several books that I will link below, and I'll link all the information and that I'm talking about below also, meaning the colored pencils and the paints and the brushes. So he thinks that there are 4 types of curses. The first one has to do with black magic and witchcraft. And he thinks that if anybody does any of these things, that first of all, they could almost curse themselves, because it's very bad to do those things. But typically, what they're trying to do is to put a curse against someone else. He also believes that if you say something to someone with a true feeling of hate, like especially at a christening or a wedding, it can have very bad consequences. So that idea, that positivity and saying nice things, and don't say anything unless you have something nice to say, is probably true. The evil eye. And you can actually, not you, not me, but spells can be made. And according to him, there's so much more to say about this, but I don't want to get you too creeped out. I just thought this information was very interesting. If you want to read more about this, go to a blog called As the Crow Flies. Oh, and you can have so much fun looking this stuff up. But back to Little Red Riding Hood for a second. I'm making her clothes underneath sort of a periwinkle blue, and then that periwinkle blue in the shadows will almost have a teal effect to it. And once again, I'm going to be using some pink to color along with this blue, just to add, once again, some dimension and some interest. So back to spooky. There's a theory that things like voodoo or curses, or even going to a psychic, can have psychological effects. So let's say I'm strolling along, I'm on vacation, and I see a psychic shop with a crystal ball in the window, and I walk in. I've been feeling great, everything's good in my life, and this psychic, and let's say she's not a thief. Like, let's say she's not trying to steal all my money. Let's say she really thinks she's a psychic, and she thinks she's doing the world a favor. So I walk in, and this is not a true story, by the way. Let's say I walk in and I ask her to tell my future or tell my fortune, and she tells me that calamity is going to happen in my near future. They say that this could cause you to cause these things to happen to yourself. So there's a psychosomatic side to curses. There are actually cases of voodoo and curse deaths in medical literature. I read stories of people who were actually in the hospital who were sick because they thought they were cursed by voodoo. They weren't poisoned, they had no injuries, and they had no real illnesses that could be defined. It almost seems like they worried themselves into such a state that they caused the opposite of the placebo effect, which is actually, I think, called the nocebo effect. Let me look that up. Hold on. Yes, the nocebo effect is sort of the dark side of the placebo effect. It's what happens, let's say you're given a sugar pill and you're told the drug has terrible side effects, and then you start to exhibit those symptoms, even though there's literally nothing in the pill. So, yeah, the nocebo effect can happen through these negative thought patterns. And we basically will ourselves into thinking what's going to happen. And because we're basically listening to whatever others tell us. And I'm not saying everybody's going to do that. I don't think I would do that, but I think that certain people would. I know that certain people completely believe in psychics, completely believe in horoscopes. And that's great if they're telling you every single day that, oh, you're going to have a great week, or you're going to come into money. But they never do say that consistently. They tell you negative things, they tell you almost negative things, so you start to worry. So, yeah. So, I guess whether you believe it's demons or negative energy, curses can seem to cause problems, but to me, it almost seems like you're doing it to yourself. And I don't think that breaking a mirror is going to doom you to 7 years of bad luck unless you impose that upon yourself. So as you can see, now I'm doing the trees. And I just want to tell you that the tree with the creepy hand on it is the tree that I'm giving the most detail to, because I think it should have the most impact. I want your eye to either look at Little Red Riding Hood or that spooky hand. And yes, there are some things to look at around those two focal points. Like there's yellow eyes over to the right, whether they're little goblins or a wolf, I'm not quite sure. And there's a couple of shadow things on the bottom too, little critters and some mushrooms. But I'm telling you this because I'm spending the most time on that big, gnarly looking tree. And I'm also using a lot of shadows. And I'm using gray, black, actually several shades of gray, cool gray, neutral gray, and warm gray. I'm also making a lot of details in the bark, just to make it more interesting, to make it look cool. And you don't have to do that, obviously, but I like when things have a lot of things to look at and you can discover. Oh, the other thing is, she's walking through the woods, and maybe she's in a little bit of a clearing, so maybe the moon is shining through right there, but I don't want that whole area to look like she's in the sunlight, and then the back of the area looks like it's in the shadows. So I'm not going to leave that grass area white or very light colored. In fact, I'm going to spend some time on that also. I'm going to do a couple layers. And once again, nothing is neat here. I just wanted to basically have fun and show you some techniques. So also, I'm assuming that the moon is sort of up on the right, kind of coming down, because I made the shadows on the left of everything. So you can see that I sharpened the pencil and I'm making some of those bark wood kind of details. You don't have to follow what I did at all. You can make your own. You can make it more gnarly. You can make it less. You can make it darker. Looking at it at the end, I think that I should have made it a little more dark. And at the end, I added some purples and some blues within the trees and within the shadows, just to add some more depth. And although I didn't announce it, it is a super secret giveaway. I'm going to give away another I Am an Artist t-shirt and a copy of Teeny Halloweeny to anyone who is subscribed and leaves me the comment, "I love your secret giveaways." And that's all you have to do. If you want to share it and you tell me you shared it, I will put you in twice. Oh, here's the t-shirt. Hold on. If you already have Teeny Halloweeny and you want something else, feel free to pick another coloring book or one of my brand new notebooks. So I messed around with the bark for quite a bit. So I'm going to fast forward that a little bit so you don't have to watch all of it. Hold on. So, back to curses. So, whether you believe in demons or negative energy or even curses, you don't want to doom yourself to bad luck by thinking too much. Or you might be like me and know for a fact that there's not a whammy in sight that can get through my self-made Superman shield. So please do me a favor and let me know if you liked this creepy little story, because I'm probably going to do another one tomorrow for Halloween, just for fun, or if it was too scary for you, or if you would actually prefer a story rather than information. I like information, but I don't want it to feel like school and make you bored. So I'm still going to be doing those trees in the back, and I'm going to cut it shorter again, but I just want to tell you what I'm doing. The trees that are closer to the forefront, I'm giving a little bit more detail, because if we were looking at it in the real world, the stuff closer to us would be more visible, obviously, so we would be able to see more details. The stuff in the back, I made a little bit darker and I made it less detailed, and I did them pretty quickly. Quickie information about this castle art set. I know I've done a video and a review about them before, but every time I use them, I remember how much I like them. For the price, I mean, they're not as pigmented as Polychromos or Prismacolor, but nothing is really. Maybe Pablo's. I've never used Holbein's, but these are fantastic. You can get the results you want. I can't say they're professional grade, but they feel smooth, they feel creamy, and I will leave my review below of Castle Art pencils because I really love them and have fun with them every single time. Now what I'm doing here is using several shades of purple to put in some shadows at the bottom. If the moon was shining toward, meaning from the right toward the left, the shadows would fall toward the left. And I kept adding more and more shadows as I went along because I liked the way it looked. I also added some dark purple at the bottom to make the grass look like it had even more depth. And you'll see that in a few seconds. I also went over the grassy area with several different colors of sort of like a mossy green and brown and gray, just so it didn't look like it was perfectly smooth, like she was walking on some kind of paved area. I wanted it to look like she was walking through the woods. Here's some more shadows. And I'm not quite sure what that color is. I could look up the number, but they don't have names, which is the one negative about the Castle Art set. Oh, and here is where I added those extra shadows and purple tones mixed in with the grass that I had already put there in black in the book. So thank you for joining me on this mysterious mischief night. And if you look out the window and there's no cloud cover, you'll see a full moon tonight. Actually, I think the full moon is tomorrow night. So tonight it's probably 99% full. So if you can get a chance to get out there and see it, it's pretty interesting. I think I read today that this is the first full moon on Halloween since 1944. I don't know if there's anything mystical involved here, but I know that at the beach, there is so much water and the tides are so high because we had a little bit of a storm here, I think, as a remnant of the the tropical storm that was destroying Louisiana once again. So I don't know if there's anything mystical going on, but it's causing a lot of high ocean tides. So thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations, Joetta. And don't forget to join my super secret giveaway and leave the comment below so you can enter. And and please be subscribed so you will be eligible. So thank you so much for being here and joining me on this spooky mischief night. And I hope it wasn't too scary. Tell me if it was. If not, I will be doing another spooky story color along tomorrow. So thank you again. I hope you liked this. I had a really good time doing this. I love spooky things. And I'm glad you were here with me for the little chill fest. There she is. I think she came out really cute. So thank you for joining me. I hope you all stay safe tonight and get a chance to look at that beautiful full moon. Happy mischief night. Bye-bye.